My name is Father Robert Ballecer. I am actually the messaging lead here at Interop. I work for the Catholic Church. I'm an actual Catholic priest, but I started working with Interop back in 2003 before I was ordained. It's sort of been a geek summer camp. It's a great place to come and to actually sit side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the engineers who are coming up with some of the most impressive, the most important, and some of the coolest gear in the industry. As the messaging lead, my job is, well, to get the word out about what it is that we're doing. And that takes the form of videos that we produce with the various people around Interop, to all the video walls that you'll see at the actual show. Everything that monitors, everything that gives us status, everything that alerts us to what's happening in the network. It's my job to make sure that it's happening in such a way that we get informed about what's going on and that the public who has actually come to see the network will understand what it takes to actually administer a network that's as big and as advanced as the InteropNet. The reason why it's so exciting to participate in Interop is that, well, it's sort of a sandbox for networking geeks. There is no other event in the world during the year where you will get the chance to play with millions of dollars of gear that you probably will never see in your professional role. To work with engineers who can actually tell you how it was built or the decisions that went into constructing the code in that particular way. Being at Interop is sort of being at a geek summer camp where you get to sit down and do all the things that you wouldn't otherwise do in your workplace. And as a result, you get to bring home skills that you didn't have, and the people around you get to learn about the things that you're doing. I mean, you'd have to be a very low-level geek not to just appreciate what's going on here. The worst thing that can happen at a hot stage is that nothing goes wrong. We've had a couple of those where it's you know, everything plugs in, the fiber is all clean, and all the servers came up the first time, and all the connections were made right the first time. If nothing goes wrong, you can almost guarantee that something will go wrong at the show. So it's good to have the disaster here. It's good to have the misconfiguration, or it's good to know that a particular piece of gear doesn't handle a loopback properly. So yeah, I'd say that would be the worst thing that could happen. The best thing that can happen at a hot stage is something that we like to call ghetto engineering. It's when we decide that we want something to happen, something cool, a feature that maybe no one has ever done before. And of course, because no one's ever done it before, it doesn't exist in any of the gear that we have. So we decide there with the engineers that we have available to us that we're going to figure out a way to make something happen. And that normally means cobbling a couple of things together. It normally means using gear in ways that violate their factory warranties, but the end result is we actually build something that didn't exist. And when we bring it to show, we can show people, we can let the attendees play with it and say, look, this is why we do Interop, because when you get this many people together, when you get this much experience together, you come up with the unexpected, and I mean, that's innovation in the industry. You can see behind me just tables and tables of people, and well, this is Interop. It's not necessarily the equipment, it's the people, because you're talking about people from different countries who speak different languages, who have different backgrounds. You've got all different specialties, and that's really what the interoperability is about. It's not just being able to connect one box to another box, it's being able to have the engineer from company A, who normally competes with the engineer from company B, sit down next to each other and say, here's a problem, let's figure it out.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you at Interop Las Vegas.
Right.